Welcome, one and all. It is approximately 10 o'clock on Wednesday, the 7th of August, 2024. And when I say it's 10 o'clock, what I mean to say is that it's 2200. Those are the numbers. This is the here. This is the now. This is Matt Taylor TV on 2200, Wednesday, the 7th of August, 2024. Approximately 4 minutes 25 into the show. I've got something serious to read out to you. Arthur, King of the Britons. Daniel Mersey was born in 1974 in the aptly named Tyndall House in Edmonton, London. He read archaeology at the University of York between 1993 and 1996. The thrilling world of discovery, previously unknown treasures in distant lands awaited. Sadly, reality is seldom as exciting as fantasy. I beg to differ, but let's carry on reading. And far from a career of self-inflicted mummies, curses, and recovering the lost ark in the heat of the desert, as an archaeologist, he, and I mean Daniel Mersey, the author of the book, he has excavated in such exotic places as Cambridge, Peterborough, Yorkshire, and Wales. He is now an editor and writer, but still takes an active interest in field archaeology. In addition to editing and rewriting other people's work, Daniel has over 100 writing credits of his own. His previously published work includes Legendary Warriors, Great Heroes in Myth and Reality. Off the written page and onto the airways, Daniel has also written comedy for radio. He is also a contributing editor to the Castle of Wales website and has undertaken work for several museums, cataloguing archived material. Assessing displays and access, and providing explanatory text. Daniel currently lives on the south coast of England, and his partner and several guitars. So what I literally have in front of me at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, is a book called Arthur, King of the Britons, From Celtic to the Cinema Icon, written by Daniel Mersey. Published by Somerdale. Chapter 1, King Who? Chapter 2, The Historical Arthur. Chapter 3, Arthur's Medieval Biographers. Chapter 4, Arthur of the Celts. Chapter 5, The Legend of King Arthur. Chapter 6, All Mod Cons, Arthur in the Modern World. Chapter 7, Will the Real King Arthur Please Stand Up? Chapter 8, The Quest for King Arthur. Appendix A, The Arthurian Companion. Appendix B, Arthurian Sites in the UK. Appendix C, The Arthurian Bestiary. Appendix D, A Guide to Welsh Pronunciation. Now, before we delve into Chapter 1, King Who, let's just take a quick check on the Brighton Riots, because after all, isn't this why we're here? So, bear with while I get the controls up and running. We are looking at the latest news from the Brighton Riots. I think it's best, actually, if we go on my Twitter page. So, bear with. We'll try to go on my Twitter page, which I think would be better. Bear with, everyone. Twitter. Yes, sir. So, and then we'll look for Brighton Riots. Brighton right? But of course, I've been out with my sister all night long, so I don't specifically know what's going on. So bear with, and while I get the appropriate screen up, and we can discuss it further. So I think we have live pictures from Brighton already. Or, this is at least, this is 2 hours ago. I saw this in Ford Street. Oh, this is outside the library. Outside the library. Let's watch it again. Brighton is liberated, and King Arthur and his family used to come to Brighton, east side time away. I don't know why the 7 buses were there. It is outside the library. Let's watch it again. Oh, it's at the bottom of Wall Street. It looks like there's a whole crowd. They've identified far-right protesters. They've identified 2 Nazis allegedly fighting in Brighton. This is along main thoroughfare in Brighton. In the distance there now. Wow, okay. So let's look for more Brighton riots. That's fascinating. What's the latest? 43 seconds. Let's go to Paul, ITV editor. 20 minutes ago, reporting on Blackpool. So Paul Brand is reporting on Blackpool. Finally, first Muslim thug has been arrested in Croydon, London today. I think we've just seen that already. Let's go to Blade of the Sun. I don't think there's been any more posts. Oh, this looks interesting. Let's have a look at this. This must be outside onto Queen's Road. Wow, a lot of people. Obviously drone footage. Travelling down to the beach. Nobody having it off on the rooftops. Good to see. That'd be pretty embarrassing. Oh, some people on the bus stop roof there. There's a car trapped. A lot of people in Brighton today. A lot of people in Brighton. Wow, look at that. It's Brighton even. Where's the goose? It's even Brighton. That's Wolverhampton, mate. Or it could be Brighton. That's Brighton. Is this Brighton? Here we go. Interesting. So it looks like that's the latest we're going to take from Brighton, really. Brighton Live, maybe, 1 hour ago. So, there's really not much going on in Brighton at the moment. So I think I will return to the King Arthur book. Yes, I agree. That would be the best thing to do. 2 hours ago. What's this? New footage. 21 minutes. Watch it then. Okay. Lost pictures of Brighton there. Going back to King Who. If you really did pick this book up and think, who is this real King Arthur? And don't worry. I already know who the real King Arthur is because I've been taught by the historical research even of Alan Wilson, Baron Blackett, and Ross Broadstock. So I know what the real story of King Arthur is. And the reason why I picked up this book today, Arthur, King of the Britons, is because I'm currently writing a seminal article on King Arthur, and so I needed a book like this that perfectly sums up what Hollywood thinks King Arthur is. In actual fact, the true story of King Arthur is a lot more fantastic and brilliant and exciting than the Hollywood version. We're already 19 minutes into it, and I've been watching some videos from Brighton. Bit of an anticlimax. I wasn't really expecting too much trouble tonight, but if any trouble does kick off, you'll be the first to hear and see and read about it here at Matt Taylor TV, broadcasting live from Brighton. I do have to boast that we're actually going live on two, let me repeat to you, two YouTube channels, which is pretty cool. I hasten to add. So listen, I've gone out, I've got a book, and it's important. It's about King Arthur. And King Arthur leads on so many different people, including Jesus Christ, Jesus of Nazarene, however you want to pronounce it. But look, the point I want to make to you is that the history we're being taught is complete and utter bonkers. It's absolutely make-believe. It's a fucking fairy tale, and I'm not going to apologise for swearing. It really is a fucking fairy tale. And what I'm going to do by reading this King Arthur book by Daniel Mercy is to just point out to you the truth from the fiction. I will sort the wheat from the chaff. You know what I mean? So, without any further ado, many historians and researchers have tried to pin the tail on the historical donkey, conjuring up all sorts of theories along the way. For far too many modern researchers have tended to champion one candidate as the King Arthur. Doing so has often proved a thankless task, and in pursuit of their goal, writers will too often ignore the evidence that does not support their pet theory. Approaching this book as a biography rather than a solution allows me, and says Daniel Mercy, to present as wide a picture of the historical and literal Arthur as I may in a book of this size, which is, I do hasten to add, approximately 255 pages, and hopefully fills in some of those gaps that others have neglected to explain. What this book isn't is a dense academic tome for a great place for us less immortals to find out more about one of the most famous characters from folklore, a popular history of Arthur. There are two very distinct King Arthurs to consider. This is fantastic. There are two very distinct King Arthurs to consider. The Arthur of the children's stories, literature and folklore, and the Arthur of history. The two are very different, but both are the subject of this biography, which charts the rise from the earliest incarnations right up to the modern day. And what I'd like to add to the ending of the opening chapter on King Who, chapter 1, of Arthur, King of the Britons, by Daniel Mercy, is that yes, that indeed there are two King Arthurs. But if you want to go along with your sense of thinking, there would actually be four. Because not only is there a King Arthur of children's stories and literature and folklore, there's also two King Arthurs. King Arthur the First, who was born around the 300 AD, fought the Romans and was the grandson of Maximus Maximus, himself the son of Constantine the Great. So the first King Arthur of the two mentioned fought the Romans. And then the second King Arthur, born 150 years later, about 503 AD, Glamorgan, South Wales, he was King Arthur II. And just like currently we have King Charles III, we have kings that come after kings that come after kings. It's called a royal dynasty. Going back to the book, Arthur, King of the Britons. From Celtic hero to cinema icon by Daniel Mercy. The Ascent of King Arthur. Arthur's name first emerges from the shadowy history of the 5th and 6th centuries AD. The strong controlling hand of the Roman government had crumbled away in Britain, and, as happened in so many other parts of the frontier empire, post-Roman riches, not witches, I'm talking about riches, were there for the picking by the ferocious foreign barbarian tribes. A handful of passing references in the Celtic languages suggest that Arthur was a native British warlord who fought back against the enemies of Britain. Stories of Arthur's supposed historical feats and some superhuman deeds also became popular and spread throughout the surviving British and later Welsh cultures by the 10th century. I mean, essentially, all the facts are correct, but they're just jumbled about. The stories of Arthur were historical facts up until actually the 1920s. Now, I bet you never knew that. That was research revealed by Baron Blackett and Alan Wilson. 500 years later, can you see how history has mistaken two King Arthurs for one? 500 years later, Arthur had become a bylord for medieval kingship, both good and bad. And over the flourishing epoch of medieval romantic and chivalric Britons, he came to stand for everything that was just and virtuous in the medieval world. What's more, medieval writers were passing these fantastical tales off as real history. Concepts of fiction and non-fiction writing were very different in the medieval world to today's black and white view. Stories about Arthur and his court became so popular that Alanus the Insulus, writing in the latter half of the 12th century, noted that anyone who said that Arthur was dead would almost certainly have a volley of stones thrown at them. Alanus wrote shortly after a poem named Wace, popularizing the theory that Arthur was not dead, just sleeping. Now, this is very interesting because it ties into the historical research of Alan Wilson and Baron Blackett. When King Arthur II was killed by a native Indian in Kentucky, USA, they actually kept the news of his death secret to protect Arthur's children. And this is very telling, because it says in the book, medieval writers were passing these fantastical tales off as real history. And this was happening in the Middle Ages up until 1922, when King Arthur folklore, King Arthur dynasty, was taught in Welsh schools. And I get that information from Alan Wilson firsthand. So in a nutshell, as this book says, and which I will disprove, I will debunk over the coming weeks and months. In a nutshell, the story of Arthur, as dramatized by popular medieval authors and built upon by modern authors, is as follows. Arthur was born into a divided kingdom, where the Britons, I do apologise, I'll have to start again. Arthur was born into a divided kingdom, where the Britons and their enemies were fighting bloody wars. Arthur's father, who we know isn't Uther, but which is mentioned here. Arthur's father, Uther, was the leader of the Britons. and Arthur was born illegitimately to him after the powerful and enigmatic sorcerer Merlin helped him to deceive the wife of the Duke of Cornwall. Now, this is the absolute Hollywood bullshit kicking in, because that is totally not the case. And I am gonna underline that, because that is so not true. I'll underline it another time. I'll read through this. And this is where the Hollywood version interrupts with the real version, with the King Arthur II version. Because Arthur II wasn't born illegitimately. There was no Arthur casting spells. And I do find it, and I'll be completely honest with you, my audience, I do find the absolute folly that anyone would believe you have to put a sword out of a stone to become king. It's mentioned here. Arthur was born into a divided kingdom where their Britons and their enemies were fighting bloody wars. Arthur's father, Uther, was the leader of the Britons, and Arthur was born illegitimately to him after the powerful and enigmatic sorcerer Merlin helped him deceive the wife of the Duke of Cornwall. When Uther died, leaving no obvious heir, the British nobles decided to fight amongst themselves for dominance. Merlin announced that the leader of the Britons would become evident through a challenge. He summoned the nobility to a site where a beautiful sword stood magically embedded in a stone. Whoever could draw the stone, Merlin decreed, would rule the country. The foremost British nobles tried, but all failed. Yet Arthur, as yet unknown to all to be the son of Uther, succeeded. What a load of fucking cobblers. Come on. If anyone who believes that bullshit of how to become a king would believe that a man called Jesus from the town of Nazareth would rise from the dead and ascend into heaven. Get your fucking head on. So what I'll do is I will come back to King Arthur. I'll be reading more. I've been yabbiting on for 31 minutes. Let me just check the latest with the riots in Brighton. If nobody wants to say anything, that's fine. I've had a lovely evening in the company of my sister and niece. And do you know, I do have something to report, actually. Do you remember I said me and my sister are embarking on a venture, a project. We're collaborating on a venture. Well, we have been working hard. We've been working hard, and I'm pleased to announce that we are taking it to the next stage. So we're taking it to stage 2. Stage 2 of the project is up and running. So I'm really looking forward to getting that kicked in. Let me just Brighton Live. Is there anything happening? 1 hour ago, I really don't think anything is happening. Oh, hang on. No, I really don't think anything's happening in Brighton. Brighton Live. 3 hours ago. News 3 hours ago. Live coverage. Oh. Hiya. I'll be with you in a sec. Okay, hang on. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Hang on, sir. Hang on, hang on. Hang on, hang on. Hang on.
Walked into the ring, thought you'd take your swing, but you didn't know the power that he brings. You thought it would be easy, you thought he'd be a fool. Now you're finding out the hard way, he's nobody's tool. You crossed the line, now you see the signs. Every move you made is coming back in time. He's a legend in his own right, a force you can't contain. Now you're feeling the regret, now you're feeling the pain. Anyone who falls with Matt Taylor better watch your back, cause he's no failure. You thought you had him beat, now you're feeling weak. Anyone who falls with Matt Taylor, you underestimated, didn't see him coming. Now you're running scared, yeah, your heart is drumming. You thought you'd be the winner, thought you'd take the crown. Now you're looking up as you're falling down. You crossed the line, now you see the signs. Every move you made is coming back in time. He's a legend in his own right, a force you can't contain. Now you're feeling the regret, now you're feeling the pain. Anyone who walks with Matt Taylor better watch your back, cause he's no failure. You thought you had him beat, now you're feeling weak. Anyone who walks with Matt Taylor, he's got the strength of thunder, moves like a hurricane. You messed with the wrong one, now you're tasting the rain. He's a storm that's rolling in, and you're standing in his way. You should've known better, now you're gonna pay. Anyone who funked with Matt Taylor better watch your back, cause he's no failure. You thought you had him beat, now you're feeling weak. Anyone who funked with Matt Taylor. So next time you think you're tough, remember this tale. Matt Taylor's not the one you want to derail. He's got the fire, he's got the fight. Mess with him once, and you'll feel the fight. So next time you think you're tough, remember this tale. Matt Taylor's not the one you want to derail. He's got the fire, he's got the fight. Mess with him once, and you'll feel the bite.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. I just had some protesters at the door. They're asking for directions. Send have gone to the wrong end, wrong end of town. But listen, I'm okay then. No one's. Oh, that's why I think I blocked everyone, isn't it? Anyway, I'll say goodbye and I'll try and catch you again soon. And we'll carry on the King Arthur conversation.